Evening Show with DJ Gracious.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Kalangwa.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm doing very fine. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, you are welcome to live radio. This is the evening show.
Thank you.
Well, just a quick one, Dr. Kalangwa. We believe election season is before us again, only that this time we have to cast our votes in the middle of a deadly pandemic. And with that said, Dr. Kalangwa, what measures have the ministry put in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19 on the 12th of August?
Thank you very much. So this year we are conducting our elections amidst the COVID-19. And I think one of the things earlier this year was the meeting that was held between the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the Ministry of Health, which later led to the constitution of a technical committee on COVID-19 and elections, which is a multi-sectoral committee with also a representation from political parties. And this committee sat down and developed the standard operating procedures in terms of how the electoral activities were going to be held. So these included the nomination period, the campaign period, the election day, and also the post-election period. So guidelines were laid down, which guide in terms of how people should carry themselves during this period.
Okay.
So we have seen they have been guiding in terms of the campaign period. But one of the critical days that we are looking forward to is the voting day.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people have been asking how should they conduct themselves on that day.
Yes.
So unlike the other elections that we've had where there was no COVID, as I've mentioned before, that we have COVID amidst us. So even as people go to vote, it's very critical that they observe the 5 golden rules.
Okay.
They need to make sure that they mask up once they leave their homes. They make sure that when they are at the polling stations in the queues, they observe a distance of 1 meter between them and the next person. Avoid crowded places. So they should avoid crowding. Because remember, COVID-19 thrives in places that are crowded. Then also take advantage of the hand washing facilities which have been provided. They wash their hands frequently. Those who can afford to get their own hand sanitizer, they can get hand sanitizer and frequently sanitize their hands. Then also just key during this period, those who are not feeling well should actually reach out to the nearest health facility in terms of them seeking care aid.
No, okay.
So these are some of the things at the site. We've been working in a multi-sectoral manner. We have preparations which are ongoing in terms of having facilities where people can wash their hands, and then also just making sure that there are safety officers who ensure that the 5 golden rules are actually observed.
Okay.
And no one ends up going back with COVID-19.
Okay.
As they are done with the voting.
Amazing. In a case where if voters forget their masks, will mask be provided?
The view is we everyone carry their masks, and I think the issue of masks has been. I think that question has been coming up.
Okay.
From the initial guidance.
Hello, Dr. Kabangwe.
Yes.
Okay, we didn't get that statement clear. Can you kindly repeat it?
There are different things. So we have so for we actually because they are reusable, you can always wash them. Then for those who can't afford to actually buy the well-knitted masks, you can actually just cover your nose and mouth with any cloth that you can just clean. Make sure it's washed. If it's a danger, you can cut a piece and make sure you cover your nose and mouth. So it's not strictly that someone has to wear a medical mask or needed mask. So the most critical thing is we need that barrier. So any cloth mask, it could be bandana, it could be stenge, catheter, and make sure you cover. And the critical thing is you're actually not doing it for anyone else, but for yourself.
Okay.
So even as you go to vote, you need to make sure that you're protected. And also, in case you could be having COVID-19 and you don't know, because remember, some people are symptomatic, it protects the people around you from passing the virus to others. So it's very critical that when you're going to vote, everyone carries their mask. If you don't have a mask, make sure you have a cloth that you can use to cover your nose and mouth, and make sure that that barrier is maintained as you maintain the social distancing.
All right. In case you have just tuned in, this is the evening show right here on your green station, Live Radio 97.3 FM. And I'm actually on a phone call interview with Dr. Kalangwa from Ministry of Health, and he's just giving us the insight on what is needed to be done on the 12th, and also ensuring what they have put in place for everyone to be safe and not get to contact the COVID-19. Dr. Kabalwe, looking at the huge number of people that normally come out on the election day, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the poll workers are safe?
Yeah, so in terms of the posters, it's mainly the same measures, just to make sure all the posters. So remember the mode of transmission of the COVID-19. You have via contact or direct. If someone coughs onto you and they have the virus and it enters through your mouth or nose, so all posters will be masked up. That's one of the things. And also, in terms of the proximity, in terms of the interaction between the post staff and the general public, so there will be that distance. Then they also have hand washing facilities to make sure that they wash their hands frequently or use hand sanitizers. So these are some of the measures that have been put in place, and also restriction in terms of the numbers. I think if you remember in the past elections, we have a situation whereby a room is fully packed with people. So there's also going to be a restriction in terms of the number of people that enter the rooms, and even as we're choosing the rooms, one of the key things is looking at ventilation. So we're choosing rooms that are well ventilated, just to make sure that there is a free flow of air, and the staff and that extra risk of contracting COVID-19.
Right. I believe we Zambian use pens to handmark paper ballots. How will that be possible without spreading the virus, especially for those that do not carry their pens?
Yeah, so for pens, so remember, as I said, it's contact. So what is critical is as long as you wash your hands. So after, let's say, for example, you touch a pen which has COVID. So as soon as you and once you wash your hands with soap and water correctly for at least 20 seconds, that will wash away the virus. So what will be key is before people use boots, they wash their hands, and afterwards they wash their hands. So washing of hands is critical in terms of preventing the spread of the virus by contact.
All right, thank you so much for joining us and for the great work the ministry is doing. Do you have any information you would like to give to the listeners on how they can care not only for themselves but for others as they head to vote on Thursday?
Yeah, so my concluding remarks is just to encourage the general public to make sure they observe the five golden rules, even as they go to vote. I wouldn't want a situation where they go to vote and end up coming with COVID-19. So watch that distance. Make sure you have at least 1 meter between you and the next person. Make sure you are masked up, covering both the nose and the mouth. And then make sure that you avoid being found in large numbers, crowded places. There should be that distance between you and the next person. And we are also encouraging people to make sure they reach out and get vaccinated so that they are fit. The vaccination program is ongoing. And also those who receive the first dose of AstraZeneca and are due for their second dose, also encouraging them to reach out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kalangwa. Thank you so much, sir.
#Live Evening Show. DJ Gracious.